Hey, how's it going? Um, I thought it'd be cool to do a rundown of all the bikes I ever had. I was looking at files the other day and was looking at some of the bikes I had forgotten about, and it was kind of brought back a lot of memories, and there was a lot of nostalgia. So I thought maybe why not share it at the same time. So I'll try to go through this pretty quick, and I'm not going to go too far back, like when we've all had like little trikes and stuff when we were kids. But I'll start at kind of like the first real quote unquote mountain bike. And that one was a Norco. So it wasn't this bike. A lot of these I won't have the pictures of just because it's so far back. But it was a Norco. It was a little Norco 6-speed that I got for a gift. And it was blue and white. And it had kind of like little 20-inch wheels and little mountain bike tires on it and a little, derailleur shifter. And it was really fun. I can't remember it that much, but that was probably the first kind of real mountain bike I ever had. And similar to this, but again, white and blue. And good solid little bike. I seen it in Eaton's, and then I guess I got it for a gift a little while after. All right, so next was... This was a real, this brings back a lot of memories. This was about in my teens, and this was one of those bikes that is like your first real, kind of like gives you like that freedom, right? Before you get a car sort of thing. So this was the CCM Extreme Ice. It was a Canadian tire, bought from Canadian Tire, and it was green. This wasn't, again, the bike, but same model. I just pulled this picture off the internet, and I definitely didn't have bar ends like that. I'd never do that. So this bike here, I put so many miles on it. So my good friend had a similar one. It was called a CCM Pursuit, and it was black and purple. And we would just ride all summer long and like 10-hour days and come back and just chill and play video games and just terrorize the neighborhood with these things. And so many miles on this bike. I eventually ended up like painting the frame gray and just doing some like, stupid mods on it. And then my friend, he ended up breaking the top stay right here. So he broke that off, and then he kept riding it because the metal down below kind of gave it some suspension, just the stress from having only one stay. And then so it was a big joke. He was riding like that for a while, joking that it was like rear suspension. But anyway, yeah, we beat these bikes up, and looking at this, it definitely brings back a lot of memories. There's a lot of nostalgia. That was probably one of the bikes, definitely not the best bike, but one of the bikes that brings back the most memories. A lot of good times with the CCMs. So flash forward a little bit, and this is like late 90s, early 2000s, or young adulthood, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, this was I would say this was like my first real mountain bike. So it was a full suspension Raleigh. I bought it from a shop out on Merivale Road in Ottawa. I don't know if they're still around anymore. Maybe they moved. But yeah, it was a Raleigh. I was really excited about this thing because it was like a super high-end looking bike at the time with the Y frame, and then it was aluminum. Wasn't steel like these CCM department store bikes. And it had dual suspension. It had suspension on it, but it was like little tiny, like 2-inch front and like 1 inch in the back pretty much. And the shocks were all like loose and stuff. And then I spec'd it out with these like colored tires. And then I put this crossbar on top, and just, there was no droppers at that time. And the crazy part is I rocked that thing at Fortune. I used to ride that thing at Fortune all the time. So all the downhills that we all go to now, back in the day, I was riding that down. So like Bill's Run, I remember Bill's Run getting freaked out at that whole like check rock garden part where it's like really steep and sharp. And yeah, it's a Sunset Series. We do the Sunset Series on this thing, like little 2.1 tires. And surprisingly, I made it through. Just crazy. It just goes to show you what you can do. And I had a blast on that thing. I definitely would ride in the Gatineau a lot with that bike. I would say this is my first like real foray into mountain biking. It's a cool bike, cool color. Yeah, I think forget what I paid, like $600 or something. Next. So after that, and I would always sell my previous bike and then get a new bike. I would never, I couldn't afford making a bike collection or having a bike collection, so I still can't. But so then I would always, use the bikes for a bit and resell them. So the next was Specialized FSR. Love this. Again, the frame design just so funky. The aluminum, the color was super cool. I put some like downhill, clip pedals on, and was rocking a Judy up front. And for anybody that knows, back in the day, like early 2000s, these were like downhill forks. They were like pencil thin, about 6 inches of travel, and that's all you had if you wanted to do downhill. And I would downhill with this, so I was mostly into downhill at the time. So I would use that bike to downhill and a little bit of like trail riding and stuff. So I ended up breaking the link on this frame right here, and Specialized was cool enough to send me a replacement frame. So I was super excited about the color. I thought it was awesome. I tricked it out, put better wheels on it, and put some new parts on it. And yeah, that was the replacement frame there. It'll look kind of something like that. It was a nice frame. I mean, again, for the time, you're talking about, late 90s, early 2000s. This is, pretty nice stuff going on here. And then this link, I actually made this link, so I welded it up, and I don't know why it just propped the end back up for some reason. I thought that was cool. I don't even think it gave more travel. But this was kind of like the first thing that got me into like modding bike parts and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then here's the Judy's without the yeah, and if you notice too, back in the day, actually, wait. Yeah, so this picture here, there were no hydros back then. It was V-brakes. So you rock V-brakes back then. Then I put some all-weather pads on there. And then tires, like the Rhinolites. Remember those? Those were like big, tough rims back then. Rhinolites and the Mag 30s were like all the rage. And, you could put 2.4 tires, pretty much the max. 2.5, you could get like 2.8 maybe. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know. So these hubs, if you really, had the cash, you could go for hydros, but that was like really high tech stuff. All right, next. So flash forward a little bit and traded that bike in, and I bought a Specialized Big Hit. This is not my bike. It's just a picture off the internet, but I had pretty much similar setup. I was rocking Junior T's on the front. And cool bike, big, heavy bike, definitely plush. I was rocking the 26 and 24, so the Mullet setup before it was like a thing. Now it's 29, 27, but 26, 24, same thing. And see if I have any more picks. So I'd throw that bike in and go to Bromont. At the time, there was only like Fortune, Bromont, and Calabogie. To downhill, Calabogie was really good, actually. Had some really good trails. These are like the only pictures I have of it. And then I threw on a nicer bar on there, I think. Yeah, right here. So I threw on like kind of like a bronze bar, and I put some Junior T's on the front. And then I got an Azonic stem, a really cool Azonic stem later on. And I think Renthal grips. So that was about 2004. So I was rocking the Big Hit, and cool bike, but heavy. And then later, so again, this is just a reference picture. It's not my bike, but I have a picture of my bike in a bit. I went with the Rocky Mountain RMX, and this was kind of like the first kind of real downhill bike that I ever had. And these frames are really nice. These frames they're heavy, but they're well made. They went with kind of like a Moto Link style. These links are huge. They're beefy, super burly bike, and kind of a cool looking bike too. I really like the RMXs. Actually got another one. I'll show that after. I was rocking the Bombers. This is actually my bike. So I did an O Cup one year. I placed like middle of the pack in that O Cup. That was fun. That was pretty fun. Yeah, so here, this is actually my rig. Yeah, so this was, I was experimenting with an electric conversion kit, which I'll put that in a separate video, actually. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, the old Fox Vanilla shock in the back, and you see the links too. They use like really huge CNC machine links, big bearings on it. Yeah, really cool bike. Fox Vanilla brings back memories. And then the Bomber. There you go. So that's that. So I like that bike so much that I ended up getting a second one. Bought this one from a guy in the States, and yeah, this is a super nice bike. Love the color. And so I was rocking a Swinger, Manitou Swinger instead of the Vanilla. Saint brakes. Again, super burly frames. Just if you're pointed downhill and you're taking the lift up, like they're not good for pedaling, but if like these would still hold up to this day for downhill. And it's rocking 888s in front, and I think those are Mag 30s for rims. Full disc gears front and back. Yeah, I really liked that bike. So yeah, I didn't have this one for too long. So around that time, what happened was I kind of so downhill was kind of getting like a little bit repetitive and stuff, and for whatever reason I should have got maybe like a cross country bike to kind of stay into it. But I had dirt bikes all along, but I kind of got more into custom frame building around 2007. So I think I just sold this one and then just started doing that instead. So I kind of had a little hiatus for a bit. But if you flash forward to... Yeah, so if we flash forward to... actually, I should say. So basically what happened was... over about 10 years, the tech had changed so much. So I was kind of like interested in getting back into it. I just kind of put it on the back burner and I was like, wow, this is like changed so much. There's like dropper posts. There's like all this, like this like carbon started coming out. It's like a big thing. So I didn't quite pick up a carbon bike right away. But 2017, I said, I'm going to just pick something up to slowly get back into it. And I got this little beauty. So I got a good deal on... This is a Tomac Snyper 140, and this is kind of how it came. Got a good deal on it. These stays are actually carbon, and it's good looking frame. It's kind of heavy. This was a 2010, and then I just, yeah, that's it. It's got some translucent pedals, got the XT going on. Yeah, I bought that in 2017. It was a 2010, so I got a good deal, and it just kind of got me around and got me back into it. And yeah, I'm just... kind of started getting back into it. And what was cool about this is that it had enough suspension where you could like jump it and stuff, but yet you could still pedal it. It's kind of like an all mountain bike. And then I threw some more flashy stuff on it later. So I threw some ergon grips, put a nicer bar in. So I actually took that bike out to California and had fun out there. And although at the time the tech, this was not like state of the art, it was enough to kind of get me back into it. So it's a really good little bike. Like it got the job done. I think it's like 4 inches in front and 140 in the back. It's like whatever that is, like 4 or 5 inches. That's at the top of trail 1. So yeah, it was the Tomac, muddy Tomac Snyper. So I ended up giving this bike to my dad, and then if anybody's watched my channel, in 2019, and for the last like 2 years, I've been riding a beautiful, so I picked up a Trance Advanced 1. So it's carbon, basically full carbon except for the rear triangle, carbon wheels, and I just love it. It's just a do-it-all kind of machine, and you know, it's got the dropper post, so it had kind of like the tech that I never really got a chance to get into at the time. So hopping on this thing was like getting into like a Ferrari or like a, you know, a supercar. Had the clutch on the derailleur too, which was cool. That was a new thing, and I never experienced. Had the lockouts on the shocks. Had the big plate. You know, rear sprocket is a 1x, like all this new kind of, you know, trend styly stuff, tubeless tires. And yeah, it's been super fun. A lot of adventures on it for the last 2 years, and I don't think I'll probably get rid of it. I'm probably just going to keep it as a kind of a do-it-all bike. Keep that in the quiver. And yeah, that's pretty much that was out on the Elmont Trail there. Yeah, so for the time being, I really like this bike. I'm maybe eyeing to get something a little bit burlier that I can take to Fortune as a spare bike, like as more of like a kind of enduro downhill kind of thing. But you know, obviously everybody knows they're not cheap. So we'll see about that. There you go. So that's my bike history. I thought it'd be kind of fun to share that. And a lot of this stuff brings back memories. And you don't notice like how many bikes you have over the years. It kind of adds up. So I'd be interested in like hearing, you know, put in the comment sections what bikes you had and which ones really stick out as being, you know, made a lot of memories with and stuff. Yeah, I'm going to do another video probably of my dirt bikes and maybe some of the stuff that I built as well. I think that would be cool to do too. So yeah, but anyway, let me know what bikes you had. Let me know your bike history. I'm curious. I love to see like different what people are riding over the years. All right. So anyway, till next time.